Malliard.com. Malliard.com. One more thing before we start. Let me turn it over to my friend that you may know from Ancient Aliens and The Curse of Oak Island and many other things, Robert Clotworthy.
On the Malliard Report, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily of Evergreen Podcasts, KillerPodcast.com, sponsor or affiliate, or any other individual or group. On the Malliard Report, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the show are solely those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily of Evergreen Podcast, KillerPodcast.com, sponsor or affiliate, or any other individual or group.
Welcome, everybody, to the Malliard Report this evening. So, the last few weeks, we've had my son and my daughter on, and we're going to be bringing my wife on tonight. Of course, she was on a little bit last week with my daughter as well, just to kind of bring this all to a head tonight, right? We've kind of worked through some things, some issues, and some things with the family. My wife was on earlier. We talked about a lot of health things. So right now, tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to bring all that together for 2022. And then next week, we'll be back to our quote-unquote regular scheduled programming with whoever the guest is next week. I know I said December was all for them, but we're just going to kind of bring this all together tonight before Christmas and give them the rest of the month off, give them next week off. So, having said all that to say this, I hope everybody's well this evening. I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody's staying warm. I mean, as warm as you can. I see that we're scheduled to get some horribly cold weather coming. So I know it's coming across the country, so warm thoughts for all of you. That's why we light the candle, right? To keep everybody together as one. So, I guess I want to take a minute here and thank everybody for indulging me the last 2 weeks as we've went through different things. Of course, if you're into the paranormal, listening to my son's experiences was probably right up your alley. My daughter's into the animals, and that may not be up your alley, but every once in a while, we've got to kind of break free around here and get into some other things. So, you've come to expect that around here. So, let's see if my other half is ready to join us, or what is going on.
I'm here. I was just waiting for you to get done with your intro.
Oh, I think I got there. I was trying to make sure that I got it. I had some notes that I wanted to scribble out, and I think I got all that stuff out. So, welcome to the program. Welcome back to the program. How are you doing tonight?
I'm okay.
You're okay.
It's been a long few days, so.
Yeah, it has. Every day is a long day around here, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. They're always different, though. That's the fun thing. Let's start with Bella's show with the animals, because I know that, like I said, that's not the usual cup of tea around here. But I think it added value because it's important for people to know what goes on around here and why that is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, but the responsibility it teaches to all of them, well, both of them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess and the animals have some responsibility in this too, right? So we'll say all of them. And we've officially
added another one.
Yeah, so officially, he's been hanging out here for a while though, so that's all good. But the responsibility, the love and affection, and the cycle of life that it brings to all of that. So that, I mean, everybody's like, well, where's the I've always told people for years that I can twist anything in the paranormal, and the cycle of life is there when you're taking care of animals.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, since Skylar's show, I know we were talking about, but since Skylar's show, his little friend, the cat spirit that he has been making his presence known greatly, and it's rather frustrating. So, but with the animals, it's really nice because it's nice and bad. Like Luna, one of our older ones who will be 2 in January, we know we don't have much longer with her, especially because she does have a tumor on her chest. And, that's hard because she was our very first pet rat. But, we've lost 3 rats since we started having rats. So, it is a grieving process, but it also shows that where life ends, there is a new beginning, because we lost a couple rats and we brought in some new rats and we've trained them. And, it's the responsibility of taking care of the animals. It's the emotional, I'm going to use the word, the emotional support from the animals. It's Bella knows she has to wake up in the morning, make them breakfast, make sure everybody has fresh water, and go get ready to start school.
Yeah, so that's the key. And now let's get into the paranormal for a little bit with Skylar. I think that was a good thing for him to express that publicly and have somebody who knows that side. Because hearing it from mom and dad all the time, well, everybody out there knows what I'm saying.
I think the best part about it was so a little bit, I have to spiral away from this just a little. Last year, I guess, trying to figure out how to lead into this. We switched to cyber charter school because we had a lot of issues in the brick and mortar schools. Then last year was our first year. We've had a little bit of trouble in our cyber charter school, but it was corrected. And this year you can see the difference in the support that he has, that Skylar was excited to tell one of his teachers about his show. And then when they met after the show, she had actually listened to it and she talked to him all about it. And she was really impressed with everything he had to say and how he was so well spoken. And she said, I know you only gave a few questions, but you did so well, and I'm so proud of you. And that's a big thing for him, to see that there's adults out there who hear him and respect what he has to say.
Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, okay. I'm reading back to Germantown. Right? I do too, but it doesn't really fit everything else that's going on. I don't know. So, well, you kind of mentioned going to school choice, and now I'm standing up because my legs started to cramp. For those of you, Germantown runner who's looking at Scooby-Doo right now, or Shaggy because I jumped up like an idiot. You mentioned changing schools, and her name just left my mind a few months ago and we talked about school choice and all this other stuff, but I think it's important that we just kind of touch on that again, because school choice month is January, and I think it's just important that we there's nothing wrong if your child is succeeding and being successful in its traditional brick and mortar school district. There's nothing wrong with that. But Germantown Runner will also love this phrase, because I use it a lot. Competition brings out the best in everybody. And I think that's what, brick and mortar schools have a monopoly because they're the only option in that zip code. And competition is great. Okay. Do you have anything you want to add to that before I get in trouble?
I don't look at it as the competition. I look at it from another aspect. Not every child, teenager, young adult learns the same way. You cannot put 26. Okay, now here's some interesting numbers for you guys. That some classrooms have between 26 to 40 students in them, depending on what state you're in and what's going on with the teacher shortage and the aid shortages. I personally could not see all 40 students learning the same curriculum at the same speed, at the same, levels. And you can't expect that to happen. So I believe that, having other options and parents having the choice to choose their child's education is very important. And I don't care whether you want to homeschool, mainstream, cyber charter, or unschool your child, whatever you want to do, as long as you are taking your child's best interest and you are helping them learn at their pace, their speed, to be successful in all the skills that they need to be in this world. And, there's even, I'm not that old. I don't think I'm that old. And, the world changed enough since when I was younger that education and learning is different from when I was younger. So that's why school choice is so important.
You are that old, by the way. I'm older than you, so I'm allowed to say that. I'm old enough to have learned to type on a typewriter. So.
So I'm going to answer Germantown Runner's question.
Well, obviously this answers the second question then, because you're on the pond.
Yeah. So I think that it is a good thing because I would never bring one of our rats on a leash on my shoulder. I can't say that word right. Just sit on the airplane. Carriers are made for that for a reason, and the lady who tried to bring a peacock on the plane and said it was her emotional support animal, or the guy who tried to go on the plane with a boa constrictor. Yeah, no. Those aren't animals that need to be out on your lap for emotional support. So
copyrighted image, Germantown Runner, you gotta respect that. I don't want to be trying to infringe on their product. But this is where I get conflicted about flights and other public places, right? And this goes into a whole. My camera just dropped for no apparent reason. Okay, so there you go. You got some more of it. You have the right to be there, right? You have the right to feel comfortable in that space, but I also have the right to be safe in that space. This could also be posed as a different argument, but we're not going down that rabbit hole tonight because that's radical. But on a plane feels much different than being in a public shopping mall, right? Because you're going to spend the next anywhere from half an hour to 6 hours plus, potentially, with whatever animal is on that plane.
That'd be like some rando going up to the airport and be like, this is my emotional support scorpion or tarantula, and they need to come on the plane with me.
Well, okay. Where does it stop with animals, right? Yeah. Because,
So the emotional support term was actually brought about for those who actually needed it. And the reason why it's recognized is so that people who need an emotional support, dog, cat, whatever, rat, can be protected to have that animal with them with a doctor's note in public housing, in a private rented house, and the landlord cannot evict them for that reason.
Which also is ridiculous in my opinion. Because that animal could do just as much damage as any other animal. And for those who are watching live on the stream, they're getting a full show tonight because they're seeing me fix the studio with painter's tape live. Almost got that long enough. Germantown Runner asked, have either of you been hunting for wildlife? And would you hunt if you have not? Or what have I hunted? Sorry, I got to be able to read.
They don't give hunting license or gun license to people who are legally blind. So that's a no for me.
So for me, yes, I have been hunting, which is an interesting phenomenon amongst itself because I realized early on it wasn't for me, but because when you fall asleep with a loaded gun on your lap and it's somewhere between 12 and 15 degrees and you're sleeping in the woods, makes you question your decisions in life because hypothermia is a real thing, and so is shooting yourself at that point. And so, yeah, I didn't go back out after that. But the other thing is, which makes me wonder, right? Because we're always, I mean, there was some debate about raising the voting age after the last election. But we send the young men in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, so for those people out there who are listening and are purist, because, there are those. I almost said the state of Pennsylvania, and I know that drives somebody nuts out there. But we'll send them out into the woods at the age of 12, even younger now, because we're allowed to take junior hunters out there. But then you could be 16 and drive, right? And then 18 and vote. But you can't buy liquor until you're 21. But you can go defend your country at the age of 18. But at what point do you qualify as an adult? Because that's, you get the criminal aspect of it all. And but I will say this, having said all of that, to circle it back around, I believe that everyone should take a either gun safety or hunter education, because that's part and parcel of it, so they know how to handle a gun safely and know how to unload a gun safely at the age of 12 or somewhere in that window. Any comment to that, my better half?
No.
No?
I mean, I've shot guns and I've handled guns without a safety course, but I know to be responsible. Yes, again, someone allowed a legally blind person, I almost said blonde and I'm not blonde, a legally blind person to shoot a handgun. That was interesting, but then again, I was a better shot than them, so.
Which reminds me of the last time I shot a gun, but anyways. I think we're still picking up the branches from the last time I shot a gun. Missed the target by a good.
See, I can't say anything, seeing that, I'm responding to Germantown Runner. I have an issue with a few things because I was born in Connecticut, raised in Rhode Island, and then we moved to Pennsylvania. So I've got a nice hodgepodge of an accent. And then
he loves how I say color.
You add in the fact that I have we call it a condition, and like a few doctors are kind of stumped by it too. But if I am around someone with any sort of an accent long enough, I pick it up.
It's rather amusing.
And I'm talking like 5-10 minutes. I start to pick up their accent, and it really drives him crazy. So
we'll take this out by the creek too.
Oh goodness!
Some of these Western Pennsylvania words that Jim Fitzgerald so loves too. I need to get him back on. But Germantown Runner, remind me. Call Fitz and get him back on. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll figure it out. Actually, I was texting with him probably a month ago. Good guy. Okay, so we've kind of put a bow on the value of the show for the kids the last couple weeks, which I like I said earlier, I was thanking everybody for the humbleness and the range to do that. Of course, as everybody's come to learn, this is kind of my show, and I kind of do what I want. Good, bad, or indifferent sometimes. But now I want to ask you a couple things here.
Sorry, I'm currently downstairs with the computer, and I'm watching, as I'm talking, Bella cover her hands in blue paint and start covering a book in blue paint. So, sorry, I was a little distracted for a second.
And then I read the chat room, and we're all just kind of laughing. Seriously, if you're not on the Duck Pond Tuesday nights, you're missing some of the best comments that I'm just not going to go Ron Burgundy on. You're just going to have to be here to understand what we're talking about. Where was that? Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you a couple questions that I scribbled down here. And then we'll get to some off the Duck Pond. I'm sure they have a bunch for you because they love me saying Keller. So I'm sure they have a bunch of other things they want you to correct.
Yeah, just because they love your word so much. I could start saying like linoleum and library and
Well,
I mean, those are just a few.
settle this for me once and for all. Is it Maryland crab cakes or New England lobster that's better? Careful here.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you because Germantown Runner is from Maryland, so there's only one correct answer at this point.
Sorry, I'm a Rhode Island girl, so it's New England lobster.
There's a reason I ask it that way, right? Just to pick on him a little bit. Because we can. He's also a capital sin, which doesn't disqualify him from listening to the show, but it's awfully close. Just so you know. Okay, so back to the actual question that I scribbled down. Good thing I scribbled it down so I didn't forget. I've been doing this show for, 11 years now, and you've put up with it. But on the other hand, there has been some value to both of us through this show. And Germantown Runner has crabs? I don't think we should be admitting that. Oh, wait, that isn't what that said. But let's talk about that for a minute, because obviously you see the group that's gathered here tonight that is missing a few, and I'm sure they're gonna chime in at some point, and there's a whole bunch of people that mean so much to me, but through the years, it's meant a lot to both of us and the family. And do you want to touch on any of that?
I met, one of my absolute best friends. We're best friends because I think I mentioned this before. I started out as her fan, got her on your show, and now we're really good friends. Even though she lives in England, we keep in touch, we talk, and I'm still one of her biggest fans. Iglos, our leopard gecko, his tank is decorated in the covers of her books. So, and Lindsay was one of the first people I met Lindsay I met, and then we met Kim in person. Lindsay we haven't met in person yet. She keeps telling me that we need to move to England, but
it makes this 9 p.m. Eastern show a little hard, though, at 2 a.m. their time.
Yeah.
No, but...
there's been friendships and stuff that have come from the show. Ashley, I met because of the show, and Ashley's not here anymore. She passed away a few years ago, but another one of my absolute best friends who, I wouldn't have known her if it wasn't for the fact that I think she found the show first, or did we meet her at a convention? I'm not sure which one it was, but the show was a big part of her hanging around and us getting to know each other. So,
yeah, it goes back to the early days of the show. And it's amazing the doors the show has opened otherwise. I'm thinking of the other excursion that impacted us all, and I know, I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it because of what she's told me. And anyways, here we go. No, sorry. Well, I'm going to say no because, she'll probably, yeah. Oh, Gio's got a good question above that. Read the one above Gio, and the answer to Germantown Runner's question is no. I'm going to save you the trouble.
The animals have their stockings. Well, the geckos and the dragons just got their stockings on their tanks. They have clings of gnomes and Christmas trees. The rats are a little too chewy to have anything in their cages, but they did get treats from our elves on the shelf. Ginger and Lollipop brought them chew toys and some little treats, and they've been enjoying those. And the rats last year had their own stockings, but this time last year we only had 2 rats, so they each had their own stocking. This year we have 9, so we just made the stockings for everybody today, actually, and there says the Mischief Crew, and everybody's name is on the stocking. And to go back to Germantown Runner's question, no, I would not, and I wouldn't have a boa constrictor in my house. And it's not because I don't like snakes, because I like snakes. You can ask Jim. I like all animals, for the most part. The only problem I have is with boa constrictors are very sneaky and they know how to get out of their enclosures. I wouldn't want the risk of a human being injured in our house. And as for feeding the rats, we had an issue this summer with 2 rats who could not be broken and could not be pets. And they wound up going to the farm to be someone else's dinner. And that's probably not the last time it will happen in the history of having animals, of having pet rats, because some of them are just bred too wild. So
I said I was going to do this last week, and I never remembered. So I'm going to put this on you. How's that sound? Is that fair? Okay, Bella.
okay.
Bella has one appointment at 1 o'clock. And what time's the other one tomorrow?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. So I'm setting an alarm right now for 2 o'clock tomorrow. While you're in that second appointment, because I don't go in that second appointment, I'll go in the first one, obviously. The details don't matter to everybody else, so that's why I'm kind of trying to be vague. But at 2 o'clock, she's in the orthodontist. I'll give that much away. Everybody who knows, who's listened to the show, knows my kids have a complicated medical history, so the first appointment's more so complicated than the orthodontist appointment where they go in and look at teeth. I said I was going to do this last week. I'm going to do it tomorrow at 2 o'clock on the Substack. If you're not part of that, you need to be. I'm going to grab a bunch of pictures of the animals and all that stuff, and I will put it on the free side of the Substack for people who want to go see it. So, I set an alarm, so we'll do that tomorrow because I forgot. And I'll make sure I get a link to Geo because I don't know if he's over there or not. But Germantown Runner has been on the Substack, and yeah, so that's my fun new little project I'm working on, by the way. I don't know if I even told you about that yet.
Going back to, complicated medical stuff, tomorrow's appointment's a little scary, but it's something that we have to go to. It's just another puzzle piece for Miss Bella, always adding things. So, got that, and then she's got the fun appointment with her teeth. She's looking so forward to that. But yeah, we have plenty of pictures that Jim can share with you guys of the animals. In fact, my phone has 9,000 pictures on it that I need to clean off.
Yeah. Maybe I'll make you an author on the Substack and you can just go post pictures over all the time.
I don't do well with social media unless I'm trying to get someone in trouble.
I know. But, Substack was created. Okay, well, we'll talk about it for a second because it's show related. We've kind of been beating around that for a minute. The Substack was created. You go over to Malliard. Malliard.win will be the easiest way to get there. It's Substack or it's Malliard.substack.com. Either way you want to get there, but Malliard.win will be the easiest way for you to get there. And we'll get to your question in a second, German. Let me finish the Substack thing. This Substack is the only place to get all of the archives for the Malliard Report on the paid side of it. And it's a few bucks a month or a few more bucks for the whole year. But if I've seen you around, I'll probably let you in for free, just saying. Because the paywall is just kind of a differentiating. Trying to collect email addresses is pretty much what I'm doing. So I can continue to deliver you content. It's the only place to get all the shows. The live call-in shows, the prediction shows, the political content, and all the rest of it is there. One feed. Some of the paranormal shows and the other shows are out for public consumption. And the live call-in shows aren't there. And the prediction shows, some of them aren't there. And so you're going to get it all. Just go over there and sign up for it. And like I said, most of you, if I see a name I recognize, I'll bump it. And if I didn't, just say hello, and I probably will. It's not a money-making effort. It's just how the system works over there. Kind of give me that differentiation to collect stuff so I can... It's not a big project. So, that being said... Yeah, there's Germantown Runner. What do I feel more? Well, it's a question for you. What do you fear more? Global warming or an ice age?
I fear global warming more because when global warming continues to happen and the ice caps start melting, there'll be no no ice left for most animals that are up there. The water will take over, flooding will happen, Florida and California will be gone. I mean, yeah, global warming's a lot more dangerous than an ice age to me. I think an ice age we don't have to worry about because as soon as it happens, most human life will die because it will be way too cold.
And also, you do better in cold temperatures, so that's just fact, too.
Yeah.
And also, I see Bowden pops up that global warming's a lie. I will disagree with you on one principle. I remember having snow at this time of year when I was a kid, and we don't right now. And when I say snow, I mean legitimate snow.
I literally had on my Facebook today, my memories was 60 degrees on the first day of winter. This is insane. That was, I think, a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm serious about this. Like, it's changing. Now, is it warming, getting ready for an ice age? I don't know. I'm not a weatherman. Of course, they lie all the time anyway, so take that with a grain of salt. But I do see this Arctic Circle coming down, this big thing we're going to get below zero, and I'm ready for that, like a hole in my head. Oh, Germantown Runner. Oh. Go ahead. Tell him you have fans around the world.
What?
Tell Germantown Runner you have fans around the world. No need for a flat earth. Okay, Germantown Runner, I'll commission you to find the flat earth expert. I mean, we dismissed the one summarily out of hand. And then the other one we had on, and he was okay. But, I actually, Neil deGrasse Tyson, there. We'll get him on. We'll talk about that with him.
I'm over here and so dumpster diving sounds fun.
Well, okay, go ahead. Talk about dumpster. You haven't done it, but this is your new study, I guess, so to speak. And it's amazing what people throw out.
Yeah, I was just trying to change the subject a little, but yeah, I mean, stores. I mean, people don't understand what some stores get rid of. I literally, before the show started, told Jim about a guy who got 400 pounds of meat from a store because their freezer went out. All of it was frozen, still good. He showed up, went to the dumpster and took what he needed and gave the rest to charity.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm glad he did it, though. I mean, I don't understand big corporations when you could sell something for 10 cents and sell it. I mean, but there's the labor involved, but there's labor involved in throwing it out too, so I don't know.
People have to understand we live country enough that it's 30 minutes to Walmart, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was laughing at Germantown's question. It would be Yogi. And
hey, boo-boo.
But I mean, we live country enough that we are 30 minutes from Walmart. So a big going to investigate this whole dumpster diving phenomenon, culture, I guess recycling kind of thing would mean us driving an hour and a half somewhere. So Jim doesn't appreciate it when I look at him at 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, let's go dumpster diving. So
yeah, Jim's old now. That's for sure. And the other thing is, okay, let's be honest. Now, I'm going to say this and it's going to frustrate some people. I could be. Somebody mock that cover up. We'll break the internet. The other thing, where was I going? I totally lost my train of thought. I have no idea what I was going to say. This is what gets me in trouble with this duck one. She is a little bit more pop music, Germantown Runner. I'm a little bit more country. I'm a little bit more fan
it's
of
annoying.
I'm a little bit more fan of the early Eagles, but the old Eagles is okay. And for those who don't know the difference, you need to go look it up. Pre and post Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh is pretty good, though. Just saying.
I listen to more than pop, though.
Yeah, but that'd be your go-to. early 2000s pop. If you're going to pick something. Right?
Except for when I make you listen to Black Veil Brides and I turn it up full blast.
That. And there's some newer music, and there's also the Broadway standards that we go through at different points. Yeah, it's an interesting thing in the car because
I'm very happy that we are out of the Hamilton every day, all day long phase that we were in for 2 years with Bella. I like Hamilton, but I was ready for something else. Oh no, there's not even a question there. Backstreet Boys are better. They've always been better.
Yeah, I have no preference either way. So there's that. Yeah, our Amazon Music's wreck between the four of us. When it wants to play a playlist, most liked or most listened to, it's just a wreck. You're not on there that much, but when you were, between the four of us, it's a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. That way nobody enjoys it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so 2 things that Jim got introduced to this year was live Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
And then on Saturday, me and the kids decided to nerd out a little bit, and Jim, of course, had to take us because he had to drive. And we made Jim sit through the new Avatar movie. So,
it's a good movie. Not gonna lie. I mean, I didn't watch most of the first one. So full disclosure, everybody who listens to the show knows that movies are not my thing. So a 3 hour and 14-minute movie is pushing my attention span 10-fold, 25-fold. There were moments where I was looking at the animation and going, "Holy shit, that's pretty cool," and then I get back to the plot of the movie. Multiple times, not gonna lie. Just being blown away by what they can do these days. But yeah, not a bad movie. And it's amazing. Go ahead.
I was say, that was a big deal also because that's the first time we've been in the movie theater since the pandemic started.
What was the last movie we went to see? Was that the Lego movie that we all went to see?
I think that was the last movie we were in the movie theater for. No, we went and saw, me, Bella, and my sister went and saw Cats. Remember? Because the joke was they released the rats for the cats.
Yeah, but the last movie the four of us went to see.
Yeah,
it's got to be the Lego movie.
Yeah, I think it was a Lego movie.
The original.
Yeah.
The original Lego movie. Not. I think they've got 4 out now since then. Probably getting ready to put another one out. So, okay, we're gonna put you in the spot. I love doing this to people. What's the favorite movie? Because I know that question's coming, so we're just gonna get it out of the way.
What's my favorite movie?
Yeah.
Are you asking me because you really don't know, or just because you want people to know?
I'm asking you because the listeners want to know.
Okay.
Princess Bride, right? Yeah.
Yes. The Princess Bride is my all-time favorite movie because when I was younger, I was sick. And I would sit at home and watch that movie. And I ran through so many VHSs. My mom just started buying them in bulk so that I could watch it whenever I wanted.
I mean, we've been married 16 years. Of course I know your favorite movie. Come on now. Give me some credit. Now, favorite band, favorite song, that could change by the hour, so I'm not even going to go there. All right?
Yeah.
So, that's not even a legitimate question. Favorite color, that goes without saying. Favorite color, black.
Yes. And my music and band taste changes because I don't just do mainstream music. I find bands and people that are not really well known too. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I did that for Trematone Runner. Just so you know, the favorite color. Let's not get it again. Black's not a color. Yes, it is. 90% of her wardrobe is black, and the other 10% is gray or blue.
I don't have gray anymore.
That's just,
I think I mainly just have black clothes. I have the occasional like black shirt with something like flowers or something on it, but
no, don't lie. Do not lie to these people.
I do. I have a black shirt with a skull and some flowers on it.
There it is, a skull and some flowers on it. Not as pretty as she's made it sound.
So.
And blue would be your blue jeans, right? I think that's the only.
Yeah, probably
The only color that counts. Mr. Bowden studied color for 12 years. That 8 crayons, man. I don't know how you managed to do that for 12 years. Now the other thing is, this is where it's been fun, right? Because you remember the night. Are you hoping for a white Christmas? We'll go there.
No. I do better in the cold, but I really don't like snow because snow equals falling down, which equals being threatened to be put in concussion clinic. So no, I rather it could snow the night before Christmas and be done. I'd be done with winter. I'd be good. And it's funny that I say that because I also tell Jim all the time that we're moving to Alaska. So
yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't jive with your plans.
Yeah,
but there are some places in Alaska that don't get that much snow. I've been watching. They get cold. Like, what is that? The city right there by the bay. Or by the ocean. They have a bay. I don't know. Juneau or something. I don't know. Now, this one will make you laugh because you remember this night pretty well. I hadn't been feeling well, and I came downstairs and told you that Columbus caused 9/11. And you
say it one more time. You broke up.
I said that Columbus caused 9/11.
Oh yeah.
And you told me we're canceling.
I told him
we're canceling Netflix and the internet that night.
Yep. And I wasn't having it. I was done.
Also told me to go back to bed and take some more cough medicine.
Yep. I also told you to keep your germs away from everybody.
That's a pretty fair indication that I'm not feeling great when I come up with absolutely truthful statements like that. No comment on that one? Truthful statement? Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. So I've got to ask you the question. Favorite Christmas movie? Now this one gets tricky, right?
For me?
Yeah.
That's hard because I don't like most Christmas movies. I think the most Christmassy Christmas movie I like to watch every year without a doubt is Scrooge. But not like animated Scrooge. It's the one with wow. Just forgot his name.
Oh. For some reason I want to say Gene Wilder, but that's not right.
No, the guy from Groundhog Day.
Bill Murray.
Yes. Scrooge with Bill Murray.
The mascot of the show, by the way, Bill Murray. I send Bill Murray out to people all the time to remind them that it's Tuesday because of the joke of it being Groundhog Day. Of course, it doesn't always come from Groundhog, but, you know. Which is wildly disappointing. You've been to Punxsutawney.
Yes. Unfortunately, we had to spend a lot of time there for a few years because my sister went to college there.
Yeah, that's the only reason we went there, because otherwise it's a cute little town to visit once. The second time's, what is that old saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Or what? How's that go? However that saying goes.
Anybody who decides to go stand in negative degree weather on a hill at 6 o'clock in the morning while people stand on stage dancing and screaming and cheering on. And then men in suits with top hats come up and pretend to talk for a groundhog. I mean, good on you, but not for me.
I have a serious question, and somebody needs to fact check this because I'm going to make a very serious statement. More Bud Light is consumed on Gobbler's Knob, Groundhog Day, than at the Super Bowl. Prove me wrong. Somebody from Budweiser call me and tell me I'm wrong about that.
Fun fact, in case nobody knew, that Punxsutawney Phil. Now I've learned that there's groundhogs from different states. Like different states have their own tradition.
Yeah, well, Punxsutawney Phil's not the only groundhog in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil is kept. So Punxsutawney, PA is so small. The fire department, the police department, the library, the community theater, and there was something else, are all one building. And Punxsutawney Phil and his two girlfriends are kept at the library on display behind triple thick bulletproof glass because someone has actually shot at them before.
And that's no lie because there was still a legitimate spiderweb bullet hole. So, yeah. I mean, this isn't an oncoming occurrence. Like, this must happen often because this glass... But you could go inside and visit them, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, I don't know. So, Ireland, right, is the place you'd want to go. But where in the United States? Or Canada, because I know there's no Canadians here tonight. That's interesting. Scared them all away. Where would you go? Continental USA or Canada? You said Alaska, but I guess that's a hell of a drive.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the only place I'm ever interested in going back to or visiting is Rhode Island. Rhode Island, and then I'm also always talking about different places I want to travel to. So my biggest thing right now is, saving up for a trip to Ohio because I want to go to Jungle Gyms, which is a store in Ohio. And that sounds so silly, but with everything we've got going on, just saving up for a trip like that is a feat in itself.
Well,
so
that's just south of Cleveland, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to end up there at some point. Just so you know, we're going to end up in Cleveland at some point. So, Germantown Run wants to know, what's your view on the current effort to bring back the woolly mammoth from extinction using, well, it says CRISPR, and I'm going to say that wrong, so we're just going to say technology.
I get so torn on that because, I mean, there's a reason that they're extinct. I get that people want to study the animals of the past. I really do. But there's a reason that they're not here, and that's because, yeah, they evolved, but some of them evolved, but also because they weren't able to handle the change, in the earth. So I think it's cool to bring it back, to study it, but I also think it's asking for a lot of trouble.
So let's delve the other direction, because this has been a hot topic. I think about Steve, I had on a few weeks ago, the technology futurist in AI, right? Because AI is present, right? I mean, we deal with it all the time with prediction and all this other stuff. But where does that line become too much for you with artificial intelligence?
I don't know, because at one point when I was younger, this is going to date me, there was a show on Disney, one of those movies that came out that was called Smart House. And the house became a person on its own. And that was something growing up, we were told that by 2022, 2023, people are going to be flying around in cars. And I think there's a difference between the human experience and the human computer experience, I guess. how much of your life are you willing to give over for a computer to control? And people may say we have phones, we have laptops, we have, those are the um, those are the computers that are controlling us. But I mean, my house isn't. I can't come in the door and say, "Hey, have a drink ready." That seems a little weird to me to be able to like. Some people have fridges that you can walk up to the fridge, do your grocery shopping order, and it's delivered to your house in 20 minutes because it's sent to the store. I find that so weird. Just you don't live to that level of things. We're excited because we have light switches that turn our lights on and off from our phones. So
Yeah, that was the biggest change. Well, the biggest change of this year has been going from Toyota's Subaru and not having to turn the key anymore, which blows my mind still. Like, I remember when I was a kid, you had 2 keys for the car. Now I have none. I have a remote. Right? Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Okay, so you mentioned Disney. Now, I've got to ask you this question because I know you're going to have a fun answer for it. They preserved his head, right? So he could be animated later. Bad pun. I mean, we're probably going to get close to that before long. All right? Do you want Disney to come back to life?
I don't know because I found out some pretty horrible things about Disney. So, I mean, I don't know if it's worth bringing them back. He wanted to come back and he thought he'd be able to revolutionize the world when he did. But I'm not sure that it's a good thing that he comes back.
Well, again, we're looking at it through the perspective of 2022. And some of the worldviews that he had at that time are way more common than they are today.
Think about. So I guess my example would be like, there's an episode of Sabrina. If anybody watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I doubt anyone in this room did, but if somebody did, there's an episode.
Somebody out there did.
There's an episode where they have a clock that can bring people back from any time in history. And usually when they came through the clock is because they were trying to resolve a problem. Could you imagine somebody walking through the clock? Could you imagine Disney walking through a clock right now? And compared to the time he lived in? Or could you imagine Madame Curie coming through? She came through the clock in the show, but could you imagine her coming through and seeing the advances and the downfalls of science that have happened since she passed? I mean, it's crazy to think about how not long ago it was, but how long ago it was with how much society and people and information has changed.
Also, okay, so that leads me to the next question. I'll leave all the semantics aside for a minute because this is the fun part. We're having a little fun tonight. If you could bring back one dead person, actually, let's go Germantown Runner style here. 4 people, dinner party, dead or alive. Who are you inviting?
Me?
Yeah, you.
See, you can't ask me that question because my answers aren't famous people.
Well, make them famous people.
I don't have famous people I'd want to sit down with who are gone.
How about living ones?
No.
No? See, this is why we live such a different life, right? That's why this show is so interesting all the time, because we have these conversations and famous people aren't the driving force for our lives. And that's why I come across some interesting people, because I'm constantly looking for the interesting and not the famous. So that's why this show turns and flops on a dime, because my interests do as well. It is interesting how the world changes. Day by day, week by week. So, okay. we're almost to 2023, which seems hard to believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's one thing you hope to accomplish in 2023?
Oh Lord, no. No. We aren't talking about 2023 because if you make too much noise going into 2023, it's going to be a repeat.
I think we've already established repeats are the new rule.
No.
I think we jinxed ourselves for hundreds of years, right? Because we always said hindsight is 2020, right? Of course, that's supposed to be a vision joke, right? But we're all trying to put 2020 behind us now. Still, that intention.
Well, I mean, I know I'm gonna dive off